The Deputy Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Apeji, says the alternative market will be launched by April this year.
The Ghana Stock Exchange in 2013 introduced the Ghana Alternative Market (GAX) as another means of accessing long-term capital at relatively lower cost and reducing risk and improving liquidity. 2 years on, the exchange is yet to be launched.
We haven't had any company doing equity yet, but there are about 4 of them in the pipeline. I'm sure you saw one just a few weeks ago, Samba Foods. Samba Foods have launched an offer. So very soon, once the offer is over and they finish the allotment, these shares will be put on the stock exchange and we will launch the GAX. So likely to be in April. All that we are trying to do is to make sure that companies that come on board, although they'll be small, medium size, but they'll come with some quality. So the investors will be happy with those.
He said most Ghanaian businesses underestimate the need for valuation. A seminar organized by the Private Newspaper Publishing Association of Ghana and EcoBank was held to educate journalists on the money and capital markets.
The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union says it has met management of Coca-Cola on a redundancy package for the 230 workers to be laid off. Meanwhile, ICU has hinted of discussions with other companies to suspend laying off workers.
The General Secretary, Solomon Kote, said he was disappointed that 230 workers were to be laid off. Coca-Cola, as at the end of January this year, had dismissed about 27 workers. The company, according to ICU, intends to dismiss an additional 211 workers.
Where we sit and for the kind of books that employers are showing to us, continuous losses. In fact, if your recurrent expenditure is getting worse, it's telling you that your gearing ratio, is going offhand. And once your gearing ratio goes offhand, your cash flow is nothing actually to talk about. Hence, we will not with any certainty to say it will not happen or it will happen.
The Secretary spoke on the need for a redundancy package for affected workers.
We've done so well and ensured that in their collective agreement they have got their redundancies or severance packages spelled out in there. When it happens like this, there are only few things we add to it and then off we go. We don't just leave the workers at that platform. We go ahead and ensure that training is also organized for them.
ICU was also worried about the instability in the exchange rate and the energy crisis and asked the government to act swiftly.
When you mention your name, I, John Dramani Mama, will fix the matter. Then you say you hold the power minister responsible if you face to face it. How can we marry the two? We know you are not directly going to face it. The one who is going to face it, tell us that look, if the power minister fails to face it, I will deal with him. But taking the responsibility from him, owning it, and saying that now you come back to tell us in another breath that this man has to get the job done. If that is not so, if the man is not able to get it done, you are going to deal with him. Then where are we? Do we hold you on your promise, or we hold the inability of the power minister in getting it done? We cannot balance that particular statement he made.
The ICU says it is in another discussion with some companies to suspend the laying off workers.
We stay on the labor front and issues relating to redundancy, and Tullow Oil Ghana has confirmed that some of its workers will be laid off in order to ensure business efficiency and cost reduction. The Communication and Investor Relations Manager, Benis Natue, attributed the decision to the drastic drop in the price of crude oil that has been prevailing on the world market.
Oil exporting countries have been hit by the drastic fall in the price of crude oil. The price of the commodity has fallen by 46% since the last quarter of 2014. Government projected an oil revenue of about $1 billion by the end of 2015, based on an estimate of $99 a barrel. Currently, a barrel of crude oil sells at $50. Ghana will lose an estimated $700 million as a result. The situation has affected production. The Communication and Investor Relations Manager of Tullow Oil, Benis Natue, says the company has begun talks with some workers who would be laid off. Benis could, however, not disclose the number of workers whose contracts will be terminated.
So we're undertaking a business organization review in the light of the low crude oil prices and also other industry issues to ensure that we can operate efficiently within our current circumstances and the current circumstances of the global industry for the benefit of all stakeholders and shareholders in our business. So this review we are undertaking across the entire tallow group, not just in Ghana, every tallow location across the world, and it is across the spectrum of our business, and therefore, yes, it will affect staffing.
She added the company could not meet its projected revenue by the end of 2014.
As at now, there is not an exact figure of how many employees will go home, and I would not like to speculate because next week we would be certain what the number is, and then we will share it. Previously, we had, say, 100 CDs within which to operate. Our current circumstances is such that we have, say, about 50 CDs to operate with, to ensure that we run a sustainable business for all those who have a stake in it, which includes the government, the people of Ghana, employees, the shareholders who have put their monies into this business, that they get a good return for whatever investment they have made.
The continuous fall in crude oil prices on the world market has also affected government's finances.
All right, so we stay with other business stories, and this one having to do specifically with the Ghanaian economy. And as you may be well aware, the Finance Minister Seth Terkper today was in Parliament and was attempting to present a statement to the House on the budget statement for 2015. Odelia Ofori, my colleague, sat through the presentation and has joined us on the line for some details of what specifically the Finance Minister said. Odelia, good evening and thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, good evening, Martin.
Yes, can you give us a few specifics of what the Finance Minister presented?
Well, I would like to say that this budget was necessary because of a fall in crude oil prices in the year 2014 that has been going on also in the year 2015, and that this definitely was going to be affecting the revenue side of the budget. And if there was going to be that effect on the budget, then definitely there was a need for a review in terms of where government was going to get other resources to fund the budget, and indeed the budget deficit that government was going to incur. The specifics also looked at the IMF loan that government will be taking on within the year to the tune of 940 million. And in fact, one of the conditions for this loan was that there was a need for a cutback in government spending. And so you would also notice that the Finance Minister said that some MMDAs are going to be weaned off government subventions in order to make room for some of these revenue generations. And so, Martin, basically these were some of the things that came up. The fact that the decline in oil prices did not only just affect the figures, but also it affected taxes that accrued to government from the Jubilee partners.
Right. Thank you very much, Odelia Ofori, speaking to us from Parliament House and the latest on the Finance Minister's presentation. So as I said earlier, on News at 10, they'll be delving deeper into this particular development. Now on to some other business stories, and a 10-member investor delegation is in the country to explore investor opportunities in the areas of energy, infrastructure and agriculture. They were from the United Kingdom and were being led by former British Minister for African Affairs. President Mahama explained and mentioned some other issues relating to the visit.
The delegation consists of business moguls from the British investment circles with special interest in agriculture, infrastructure and energy. Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Victor Smith, who led the delegation, explained the need to spearhead the investment drive to bring in more businesses. Former British Minister for Africa, Mark Simmons, said Ghana remains a key ally in development.
When I was the Minister for Africa in the United Kingdom, I highlighted Ghana as one of the key markets that we should do much more to promote a exchange of trade and investment between the United Kingdom and Ghana, and that should be hopefully a two-way street, not just investment coming from the UK but also investment coming from Ghana into the United Kingdom, building on our very strong historic and friendly relationships.
President Mahama welcomed the move, noting Ghana is well positioned to spearhead modern Africa trade as it remains the best investment destination.
Africa is the fastest growing continent and probably has, the most youthful population. Aside from that, it has the fastest growing middle class, and therefore disposable incomes are increasing, and these are all good signs for business. Ghana is typical of what's happening in the continent, and Ghana, more than any, has other attributes that are very friendly to investment. We are ranked, in West Africa, the most friendly business destination by the World Bank, and then aside from that, in the whole of the continent, Ghana is a model of democracy and political stability.
The high-powered business gurus would in the next few days assess areas to invest in.
In other news, former First Lady Nana Konadu Rawlings has challenged Ghanaian women to be more assertive and become contributing partners to engender the country's socio-economic development. She was speaking at the Airtel Talk series for International Women's Day.
Airtel Ghana's International Women's Day celebration is to encourage and recognize women in all fields of endeavor. It is also to recognize women as agents of change in the society. As part of the month-long celebration, influential women in society will share their success stories to motivate staff of Airtel.
We took advantage of the fact that March represents International Women's Day, which is the 8th of March, and we thought, why don't we actually dedicate a whole month to the cause of women, to the women within our company, to the women outside of our company in Ghana, to say, potential that is within you. Let's celebrate you. Let's encourage you.
Former First Lady Nana Konadu is the first to take her turn.
We must speak up against violence. Speak up against discrimination. Speak against discrimination, whether it's in the home, whether it's in the workplace. We must stand up for our rights. And that always come with responsibilities anyway. And I think most women know responsibilities. Except it's like, people are going to just complain, you are always complaining. No, please, never take no for an answer where the empowerment of women is concerned.
She again encouraged Airtel to incorporate women's concerns and needs into their company's policies.
I would also like to say that you should respect the views of the women. Respect the positions, respect our ambitions, because our ambitions will together help us to transform and grow this corporate entity to the heights that you probably previously never envisaged.
All right, that's it for business. Stay with us. Sports is right up ahead.